Invasion subscription.
You were muted.
I was
Yeah.
for the whole time.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. That was just a test. I don't know what you heard, so I'm going to start from the beginning.
They heard nothing.
Totally nothing. Well, hello. It's like a metaphor for 2020. Welcome to Daleko Home Invasion's Passion Project. My name is Amanda White, and I am, along with Artistic Director Ben TG, a Daleko Artistic Director and one of your hosts for this evening. We are so excited to have you. Thanks for joining us, for logging in on what is here in Minnesota, turning out to be a very crisp, cool, early autumn evening. Passion Project is a really exciting series that we have introduced as part of the virtual Daleko Home Invasion season for 2021. And we thought it would be fun because Daleko Arts is an ensemble theater company to bring to you some of the things that drive passion, energy, joy, delight, mystery for our ensemble members outside of their time on the stage. So, tonight's Passion Project is focused on our very beloved ensemble member, Patrick Kozicky, and he has brought along some of his friends. So, welcome to tonight's Patrick Kozicky Passion Project on all things Walt Disney. Welcome to the show, Patrick.
Just kidding. I unmuted myself. I remembered to unmute myself.
You did it.
Hey, Amanda.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Hello, New Prague. Hello, Daleko Arts. How are you doing tonight, Amanda?
I'm great, Patrick. I'm great. I feel cozy. Got my Mickey hat on. I'm ready to go.
You look amazing.
Thank
You
you so
look
much.
amazing. Before we get started, I have to say I want to give a shout out to all of our Daleko Home Invasion and game trivia night listeners and watchers. We were able to raise $4,000 for the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation a few weeks ago, and I am so overjoyed, and my heart is exploding because of all of your generosity. So thank you, everybody. If you didn't get a chance to donate, you still can. There's a link at the bottom of your screen, if you scroll down a little bit, that you can click on and donate directly to the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. So thank you in advance, and thank you to all of those who have donated previously.
Our audience is amazing, Patrick.
They're incredible. They're incredible. They're the reason I keep coming back to New Prague for Daleko Arts and all of the people who live there.
Me too.
So, Amanda,
Yeah.
we're here to talk about Disney.
Sure are. I can't wait.
Disney is one of my favorite topics. If you know me, you know, you can see in my background, I live in a Disney house, basically. I live just like Mickey Mouse does. It's my passion outside of theater, outside of Daleko Arts. I grew up with Disney. It's been in my childhood ever since I was a baby, basically. I went to Disneyland for the first time when I was 6 years old. I have very fond memories. I am now an annual pass holder for Disney World. I am a co-host for a Disney podcast called Gays Do the D with our other co-host, Adam, who you'll meet a little bit later. Disney is woven into my life. It's basically part of the fabric that makes Patrick right now. Disney is the reason I started running a few years ago through Run Disney. And Disney is a very charitable organization, which is also a passion of mine, charity and philanthropy. So that is just part of why I love Disney and have chosen it for my passion project. One of the other reasons is that I have met so many amazing friends in my Disney journey and through Disney. And I wanted to share a few of those friends with all of you tonight. We're going to talk about some overarching Disney topics like Run Disney, Disney Theatrical, and Disney in the News, and Disney as it relates to charity projects.
Cool.
So buckle up, folks. Give us your questions. Type them in the chat if you have them. We'll try to answer them live. But we're just going to have a fun discussion with you tonight and hopefully make some Disney converts if there are any Disney naysayers out there.
It'll be an easy conversion. I have a question just to kick you off.
Yeah, what's up?
Do you remember what the very first Disney story you ever heard was?
Oh, that's a good question. I think my very first connection would be Sleeping Beauty. That was the first movie that sort of...
Oh, yeah.
I watched that movie over and over. We had to buy multiple VHS tapes for Sleeping Beauty.
Perfect. Perfect.
What about you?
I think it was Bambi.
Ooh,
I think
good one.
so.
Good one.
Yeah, I loved it. I sobbed.
Oh, Heather says, "Can you list all the Disney cats?" Oh, Heather. Oh, Heather. There are too many Disney
Heather,
cats.
you and your
And you
cats,
should know
Heather.
by now that Amanda and I are Disney dog people, not Disney
Yeah,
cat people.
that's true.
So, come on, get with the program.
It's true.
So, what do you say, Amanda? Should we invite our friends to join the chat?
I think we should do it. You guys are gonna have to excuse my bubbly right now. I have allergies, so you get the drill. Just gonna sip
Excuse
my bubbly through the course of the
excuse
evening.
my bubbly, Amanda. Excuse my bubbly.
Patrick, I can't wait for our friends at home to meet your friends. They
I'm
are magnificent.
I'm super excited. So we have three amazing people that we'll bring into the chat right now, and I'll give you some brief introductions, and then we'll get the chat going. How does that
That sounds
sound?
great.
All right, Ben, if you would be so kind as to bring in our Disney guests. There they are. As if on cue. Well done, Ben. For those of you who don't know, Ben is behind the camera tonight, operating sort of master of ceremonies. So he is. We're not going to see him, so you're welcome for that, right, Amanda? All right. I'm just saying. So let's start with Adam. Adam Hummel. Now, I want to preface this with all of these lovely gents sent me their own bios, and I should not have let them do that as I read them. He's in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and is a producer, co-host of Gays Do the Deep podcast, which recently celebrated its 100th episode. He is a Disney history buff and identifies as a Disney villain. Welcome, Adam. Oh, nice. I like it. I like it. Your Maleficent is on point tonight. Next up, we have Noah Lee Jordan. Wave to the people at home, Noah. Noah is a Broadway and Disney enthusiast whose career peaked at a young age when he played young Simba in The Lion King on Broadway. He will never be that cool again. He's participated in several Run Disney events. He loves Disney villains, much like Adam, and he does not see the appeal of Frozen. Noah, you've just made some enemies.
Yeah,
You've already
Noah.
done it.
Sorry. Not
I don't believe you. I don't think you're sorry. I don't think you're
I'm
sorry. And last but certainly not least, we have all the way from Canada, Nick Jankowski. Nick is a Walt Disney World annual pass holder, a DVC member, a Run Disney Perfect Dopey, which we'll get to later, and an Ironman triathlete, a lover of tiki drinks, I know that to be a fact, and is also the day of flight director for the Ottawa chapter of Dreams Take Flight, which we'll talk about later too. Let's see. I'm not going to read your favorite character yet because we have a lightning round later on. But for over 4 decades, Nick has personally been haunted by the made-for-TV movie Child of Glass, which premiered on the Wonderful World of Disney in 1978.
Still gives me nightmares.
That is a horrific movie. If you haven't, I can't recommend watching it. I really can't. What's that? Give us a brief synopsis of that movie, if you will, Nick.
So the problem with the movie is I was so young when I saw it that I think I was about 5 or 6 when it came out. And it's about a little boy who is in Louisiana, moves to a farm, and he encounters this ghost of a little girl. And she's cursed. And until he finds this China doll that was lost when she was murdered, and reunites it with her ghost, she can't be set free. And I was young enough when I watched it that I kind of blocked out some of it. This is kind of Child of Glass is to me what Return to Oz is for Adam. I used to have recurring nightmares of falling into a well and finding a China doll. But because this movie only aired for a couple years on The Wonderful World of Disney, as I grew into adulthood and still was having this weird nightmare about falling into a well, I couldn't find this movie. Like in the 80s, when everybody would go to video stores, I would look for it to try and figure out why I was having this nightmare. And it wasn't until a couple of years ago that I was able to find it on the internet. It haunts me to this day.
Yeah.
Oh no.
That's a real nightmare, Nick. That's a real living nightmare.
It's Watcher in the Woods for me.
Yeah, Watcher in the Woods is absolutely terrifying as well.
What was up with all of those late 70s, early 80s Disney made-for-children horror movies?
I don't know.
No, they're not made for children or for adults. They're just fantastically bizarre. But you can watch them now on Disney Plus.
Yay.
Oh, Kathy Ilka also says, "What about Watcher in the Woods? So scary." Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
Kathy?
yeah. Bonkers.
Nightmares.
That is a bonkers movie.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so what do you say we dive in with our first topic at hand? We're going to focus a little bit on one Adam Hummel, who, as I mentioned, is co-host of the podcast Gays Do the D. And you're a Disney history buff, Adam, a self-proclaimed Disney history buff, but I know this to be true. So talk to us a little bit about what it is about Disney that makes you sort of want to constantly sort of investigate Disney. What is it about Disney in the news? What's it about Disney history that sort of weaves it all together for you?
Well, there's several answers to that question, Patrick. The first is that it's a part of my childhood, right? So growing up and going down to Walt Disney World frequently with my family, I was very curious on how they made it all happen. And oftentimes the explanation of how they made it happen can be quite simple, but it's really fascinating how all those Imagineers, and for those who don't know, the people behind Disney, those who create the rides, those who create the experiences you experience in the park, they're called Imagineers. All those Imagineers working together to create this kind of living monument to Disney film, is just so fascinating to me. So all of that kind of inner working stuff is very curious to me, and I'm always kind of wanting to learn more about the history behind how they made certain attractions, or who was considered for certain roles in movies. That's always been kind of very important to me, to kind of know the weird kind of history behind Disney. And the second part of it is just that I have so many fond memories of Disney films, that this is just a way for me now as an adult to kind of find a new connection to it. I still have the kind of nostalgic connection from my childhood of watching the movies and going to the parks, but now I'm able to look a little deeper and kind of go behind the scenes. And that's one way I feel like I can connect more now as an adult.
I love that. Adam was the kid at a magic show who was telling all the other kids how the magic is done. Right, Adam?
No spoilers. No spoilers. Yeah, I would not do that, Patrick. But maybe just a few kids afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah. You told me all the magic tricks, and magic has been ruined for me many times. Just kidding. So talk a little bit about the podcast. Of course, we both co-host this podcast, but you were kind of the inventor of it. You came up with it. You gave me a call one day and said, "Hey, we're doing this podcast. Are you in?" And I was like, "Okay, great." And you had done it all for me. You'd done all the work. What made you want to start the podcast? And then talk a little bit about what you love about the podcast. What are some of your favorite aspects?
Well, what really drove me to create it was, I'd listened to other Disney podcasts, and I wasn't finding a lot of Disney podcasts that included an LGBTQ plus perspective. And also I just wanted to have a really funny podcast about Disney because, as I mentioned earlier, the history behind it. Disney can be weird, and adults who go to Disney and experience Disney on a regular basis can also be very weird, and that's fun. So, one day I was walking into work, and I was kind of having one of those days where being in the office just wasn't as fulfilling as it needed to be. And I think I texted you and said, Gays Do the D, we're going to do this podcast. We're going to figure it out. And about a month later, we kind of launched our first episode after figuring out microphones and feeds and how to upload everything. So yeah, it was a relatively quick process once we kind of got started on it. And the thing I love about doing it is connecting with all of our fans, and with you too, Patrick. I mean, we've been friends for so long, over a decade now. And yeah, buddy. And we really kind of rediscovered Disney in our adulthoods, and would have lengthy conversations about it at parties. And, so it's kind of natural for us to just jump into a podcast situation. And the great thing, as I mentioned earlier, was that we now get to include this conversation with so many listeners from all around the world who are contributing to the conversation and, joining in on our talks about movies and about trips to the parks. So it's really fulfilling to be able to be a part of this much, much larger Disney community all around the world.
That is a great answer. I'm also laughing because Nicole TG just asked, Adam and Patrick, have you ever been at Disney for Chris Smith? For those who don't know, Adam and I were in a show where we played a holiday show where we played two characters whose names were Chris Smith. So, Adam, you have been there actually for the holidays, haven't you?
I have. I was there most recently last year, yeah, for Christmas. It's a whole nother level. You know, you think that Disney is magical when it's just kind of at its very basic, you know, like the parks are just, I don't know how to describe it, but they're not decorated for any holiday. And then Christmas, everything is just plussed that much more. You know, the castle has lights on it. Well, on a regular year, the castle has lights on it, and everything is just that much more magical and really charming, and it really does get you in the holiday spirit.
I love it. Tom Karki also said that we're both very charming on the podcast. So thank you, Tom. I will accept all compliments. You can keep sending those in, you guys. Keep sending those in.
I was going to say, are you sure he's listening to our podcast? He might have found another podcast that...
I think he just wants to be a guest on the show. So
No.
That's all it is.
No, Tom.
I love it. And Amanda, fun fact, you have been a guest host on Gays Do the D, and you and Ben have both been on as guests before as well.
I truly love Very Little More. It is, if you haven't listened to this podcast, it is an absolute charmer. They are jam-packed with all kinds of history, information, anecdotes, lists, you name it, you guys. It is just charming, delightful, informative, fun stuff. And those guys are both, because they are trained actors, they are both magnificent hosts. So you should tune in. I totally get what you're saying too, Adam. It occurs to me that one of the things I really love about Disney is the behind the scenes stuff. I'm normally not a spoiler person, but I do want to know on every single ride, behind every attraction, whatever, how it goes. Like, what's the magic that makes it work? And I think for artists particularly, something that's so compelling to me about that is it's a whole world made entirely by artists. All that entire place came out of the head of artists. So to me, it's so fascinating to see, like, how does this all work? I want to see, like, how does the camera reflect onto this thing, make that thing happen, the wheels, the mechanisms, all of it. It's fascinating.
I was thinking about that earlier today, Amanda, about how, you know, those who are involved with theater or even with like film, we're kind of very aware of the fact that it's not real when we're performing. We know that, you know, we're on a stage and this is a set. But when we go to Disney as performers, we get to be immersed in another world and get to experience that. So it's fun to be able to be an audience member walking around. But yes, then it's also fun to look at things and kind of wonder, how did they pull that off?
Yeah, for sure.
It's true. Disney is basically one enormous theater for everyone to play in, basically, which is a pretty good segue, actually. Thank you both, Adam and Amanda. We're going to talk a little bit about Disney's relationship with theater next. So, as many of you may know, Disney has an enormous and extensive catalog of musicals and plays. They've even got their own production company, basically, called Disney Theatrical, which started back in 1993, I believe. Guys, keep me honest here with my dates. With Beauty and the Beast, I believe, was their very first production. And since then, they've had huge hits with The Lion King, with Newsies. What else? Help me out, guys.
Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins, Frozen.
Tarzan.
Peter,
maybe not a hit, but one of something they did. Aladdin.
Oh, no.
Aladdin.
Well, Noah, now we're going to put the spotlight on you a little bit. As I said before, Noah was in The Lion King on Broadway as young Simba. Amazing. We are amongst celebrities tonight, everybody.
No, not famous at all, actually.
You are a new preg,
Very
Noah.
more of Broadway.
You are a new Prague celebrity. Trust and believe that. And for those who don't know, fun fact, before The Lion King went to Broadway, it actually had its original premiere here in Minneapolis a few months before. So we are in the state of the great Lion King. So Noah, tell us a little bit about how this all came to be. You found yourself on a Broadway stage playing young Simba. How old were you?
I was about to be, when I auditioned, I was 10, and I turned 11 during the process.
Got it.
So, yeah, I guess I'll just start. My mother dragged me to an open call in Colorado at the time. It was located just outside the Denver Center, if anyone is familiar with Colorado and theater landmarks. It's in downtown Denver, and it was like just right outside there in their kind of studio spaces. I lived in Arizona, so we drove all the way to Colorado to go to this open call where we were only told they needed young African American children to play young Nala and young Simba. And they would be asked to sing I Just Can't Wait to Be King. That was all we were basically given, or at least that's all I knew. My mom might have gotten a more official call sheet, audition sheet. Like, I don't know. She just bribed me to go with the promise of a road trip and Dippin' Dots. So as a 10-year-old who just wanted a sugar high and an adventure, I said, why not? So we drilled home. I Just Can't wait to be king, like until I was blue in the face. I hated that song. I never wanted to sing it again. I said, I got it. I don't want to do this. Just let me have my Dippin' Dots. Let's go do this. It'll take a few hours and we'll be done. So we showed up, and they brought us all into a little room, all of us youngins, and said, okay, everyone, it's going to be super easy. We're just going to have you sing I Just Can't Wait to Be King in a little group session, and then we'll have each of you stand up and sing it by yourself. Me being arrogant and young and over it, to say the least, when it was my turn, got up, wrong and strong. The line is look left. I looked right. When the line said look right, I looked left. I was waving my finger in the music director's face. I was pointing at everyone in the room like I didn't care at all. I just wanted to be done. And then my sweet, lovely brother, who was also forced to audition, went and sang like a cherubic angel, perfect key, but gave zero personality. So we both went, we thought it was over, and we left the room. Then they came out and announced just a ton of names, none of which were ours, and said, thank you all for your time. You can leave. We didn't understand that that was a good thing. We just thought we were done. Fast forward, we went through more dance calls, more like one-on-one kind of scene work with a casting director, and left. My family never heard anything because this was for the tour production of Lion King. So we never heard anything. And then a few months went by, and my mom got a phone call saying that they wanted both my brother and I to go to New York and be part of the Broadway company of Lion King. They thought that what I lacked in beautiful cherubic notes, my brother could help me with, and what my brother lacked in reckless abandon, I could sort of merge those two worlds. So together we hit the stage and went through rehearsals and kind of cheerleaded ourselves through it for about 6 to 8 months, and then transferred to the tour, and then ultimately went home after a long year.
Wow.
It's
Wrong and strong. You'll fit in well here at Daleko Arts, Noah.
wrong and
Yeah,
strong.
that's right.
I've always learned if you don't know the dance move, the lyric, the note, just go for it and commit to it.
Life
Having a
lesson.
question mark is never going to get you anywhere.
Were you even nervous? I mean, at that age, were you just like more excited than nervous on opening night?
I wasn't even excited. I just was. Opening night was different. No, opening night I was very nervous.
Okay.
Audition was like, didn't want to do it. But opening night, because I went first, because as I don't know if people know, but with child actors, you rotate. So you're kind of on an every other schedule. So I went first, my brother went second. If it was a two-show day, we did opposing shows. So I went first, and opening night, I remember being like a little confused because we had done so much work in such a secluded way. We had only had a few put-ins before, and we were not like raised as child stars. Like my mom was not like making us go to any audition but this one. And so we did not know like what it meant to be on stage. We had done like light work in theater. And so it was very weird, but I remember taking my last swing in Hakuna Matata. If you know the show, young Simba swings off in Hakuna Matata and adult Simba swings in, and it's like, oh, he's all grown up. And I remember being like really devastated to like get off stage and see that it was over. I was like, wait, I want to do more. Like, why is my part over? Can I
Oh,
go back?
That's the bug.
And then I vowed, and I just went to my brother, and we had like this competition of like who got the loudest applause. When and I was like, no, they definitely applauded way harder for me last night. Or, like earlier today, the crowd really liked me more than you.
clearly, clear.
This is a thing I'm gonna have to start with my sister.
Yeah, do it. It's like a really nice competition that really has real results.
There you go. There you go. That is a wild story.
It's
Yeah.
great sound. Now you have been in many other productions, but including you were in a production of Peter and the Starcatcher, and Amanda, you of course directed a production of
Yay.
Starcatcher.
Yes.
Is there a difference for you in doing a Disney theatrical production versus a different show? Is there an extra bit of magic, or talk about that?
I think there is a difference, but it's not anything that is like tangible. I think Disney, like when you have millions of dollars to like make a rock come out of the ground, like there is like magic as a child that you don't see. You're like, oh my God, I was on this stage and 10 seconds ago there was not a rock there, but now there's a giant rock. Like I think when you like scale that down, you're always kind of like, well, there's no giant rock, but I don't think the energy of being on stage changes. Like the energy that a crowd and an audience can give you will always be amazing, regardless of what level of stage you're on.
I love that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Amanda, can you talk a little bit about your experience with Peter and the Starcatcher?
Yeah,
I know
mean,
for both of us, it was kind of an emotional experience because our love of that story, right?
It's a
definitely.
great story.
Beautiful.
It's a beautiful story, and I think one of the reasons I felt so emotional about it to some degree was, well, first of all, that story, has deep. This is like a theme that we're hearing so far, deep implications, historical implications for me, just childhood stuff. But the way it's written too, it's written to feel like a deeply invested historic story. It feels like an old tale that's somehow some kind of myth. There, people are at sea and there are shipwrecks and islands and so it feels sweeping, but also it's invested by the story that all of us remember watching in the cartoon or hearing read to us at bedtime. And so for me, the combination of seeing this kind of neat new take, but also seeing all of our old friends show up by the end of that story, when we get to hear about Nana and, see what happens with Molly's children, and, that we sort of go, oh my gosh, that's where this is the prequel, that we sort of see it all kind of come together. That that to me is really moving. And the fact that, sort of the opposite of what Noah says, yeah, we're so used to Disney having these just immense production values. And then suddenly it's like, all right, you've got, 2 pieces of rope and 3 platforms and, which was what I thought kind of at the beginning of the process this was going to be. We're just going to come out here with a bucket and some rope and tell a story. And then, Disney ends up being pretty epic in some ways. And so the story built and built and built until suddenly there was like, suddenly with all of that wood and rope and buckets, there was this pirate ship on stage, which I think Disney's just so, they've perfected magic. They know how to make it happen, so that we go on the journey with them. So for me, that was a deeply special experience. And you guys, some of you, Adam did, but you should have seen Patrick as Smee. It was glorious.
It was something. It was something. Yeah, there's something interesting about Disney where a lot of people want to call Disney childish, but instead I feel like it's making you look at the world like a child, right? There's something magical about the way kids look at the world, and I think Disney has perfected that magic. It's really beautiful.
Agreed.
So to flip the page a little bit, on the opposite end of the spectrum from theater, Disney is also very into sports. So if you're a sports fan out there, Disney has a lot to offer for you. Of course, there's the ESPN Wide World of Sports in Walt Disney World, which hosts many, many, many sporting events, including cheerleading championships. Right now, I believe, keep me honest, everybody, the NBA has created a bubble there in Disney World where they'll be completing and playing the entire season, which is pretty phenomenal. And of course, we come to Run Disney, one of my favorite topics. And this is where Nick can be our professional here. So you have to keep me honest in some of my facts, Nick. I believe Run Disney started in 1994. Is that correct? With the very first Walt Disney World Marathon.
Yeah, that sounds right. They had their 25th 2 years ago. So yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, and since then, it's expanded a lot. It was in California for a while. It's no longer there right now, but it is in Paris now. And now in Walt Disney World, 4 times a year, they have these big Run Disney events. In January, there's the marathon weekend. In February, there is the Princess Half Marathon weekend. In April is the Star Wars Half Marathon. And in November is the Wine and Dine Half Marathon, where you drink a bottle of wine and run a full half marathon, right?
No.
Oh. Oh, I do. So I don't know.
But that sounds like fun.
But as I said before, when I introduced Nick, Nick is dopey perfect, which is a lot less hilarious than it sounds. Nick, tell us what being dopey perfect means.
So dopey perfect just means that you have done each of the 7 dopey challenges. As Disney added races to their calendar and Run Disney expanded, at one point they added the Goofy Challenge, which was you had to run a half marathon and a marathon on back-to-back days. And then in 2014, Run Disney realized that some of the really diehard Run Disney enthusiasts had started doing like the 5K the day before the half marathon, and then doing the half marathon and the marathon to get the Goofy Challenge. And someone at Run Disney said, hey, we can charge them for this and give them more medals. So 2014, they did the first Dopey Challenge, and they actually added a 10K race, which in the beginning was Minnie Mouse's race. It was her first race. And so you run a 5K on Thursday and a 10K on Friday, a half marathon on Saturday, and then a full marathon on Sunday. And it's 48.6 miles over 4 days. Yeah, and so Dopey Perfect just means that I've done it each of the last 7 years.
I feel like it's very aptly named Dopey to do all those races. Right? What's the hardest thing about doing a Dopey challenge for you? Is it just miles, or is it the waking up early every morning?
Getting up at 2:30 in the morning 4 consecutive days in a row is awful. If you can roll yourself out of bed and make it to the start line, then that is the worst of it. After that, everything else just kind of falls into place.
You make it sound a lot more easy than I imagine it actually is.
Yeah.
What made you want to do the Dopey challenge? What on earth would make someone want to do that?
So my first Run Disney race was actually in 2013. It was Donald's Half Marathon, and my husband had talked me into to doing those that year because it was I believe the 20th anniversary of the full marathon, and so the medal was spectacular. It was huge. It was a spinner, all kinds of glitter, and I was like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever, we'll do it. And I absolutely fell in love with the Goofy Challenge. I was training to do my first half Ironman at that point, and I was getting into triathlons, and I was trying to push myself a little bit further each time. And the thing about the Run Disney event was that I didn't get stressed out about it. Like, I wasn't anxious at the start the way I was at other races. People were in costumes. Everybody's happy. Like, even the people that are having a horrible race are still happy. And every mile there's people, cheering you on. There's characters. And the more Run Disney events I did, the more I realized these are a lot more fun than all those other races that I'm doing. Over the years, I've done the New York Marathon, I've done the LA Marathon, I've done Chicago a number of times, I've done Honolulu. And I kept coming back to the idea that the Run Disney races are really, they're fantastic. They're well supported. With Dopey, right before I did my first Dopey, I was considering doing a full Ironman, which is 140.6 miles in one day, swimming, biking, and running. And I thought, well, if I'm going to do that, I should do a Dopey first and work up to it.
Because why? I mean, that just seems logical, right?
Yeah.
A warm up.
But I kept even after I had done an Ironman, I kept realizing that the Run Disney races were they were much more enjoyable. Another factor that really played into it, in 2013, when we had the Boston Marathon bombing, within the running community, well, I mean, for everyone, that was horrific. But within the running community, that really shook a lot of people. I remember my first half marathon after that event was in Vancouver with my sister, and I mean, you become jaded and paranoid a little bit. Like, you're looking into the spectators, thinking, okay, if that could happen there, it could happen anywhere. And the next Run Disney event that I ran was the Dopey in 2014, and it's all on Disney property, and it is such a controlled environment. And I ran several races after Boston, after the Boston bombing in 2013. I haven't actually run Boston, full disclosure, but after that event, the Dopey was the first race where I felt normal again, where I was running and I was completely carefree, and it felt good again. Like it was fun. And so yeah, Dopey will always have a special place in my heart for that reason.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Nick, for those who know you, know that you are a champion when it comes to helping other people run as well. You were there for me during my runs. You calm people down. You're incredible at it. And you are also sitting in front of 8 million medals right now. How many Disney runs have you done? Have you lost count?
Yeah, hang on a second. I've got a cheat sheet. So I actually had to do math beforehand because before a Run Disney event, a lot of times they are interviewing people in the crowds, and there's always that person that they ask them, how many Run Disney events have you run? And I'm always terrified that they're going to ask me, and I'm going to be like, I don't know, I'm going to draw a blank. It's one of those things that is knowable, it's a knowable fact, but it's kind of like asking someone, how many weeks old are you? It's not something that you think about regularly. So I have done, let's see, 43 Run Disney events that were official sanctioned Run Disney events, and then 11 virtual races. So 54 basically Run Disney runs.
Wow.
The breakdown is 8 full marathons, 14 half marathons, 13 10Ks, 8 5Ks, 2 virtual half marathons, 9 virtual 5Ks. And yeah, it's you don't realize it until someone asks you to talk about it, and you have to pull all your medals off the wall, and you realize that you've got like 40 pounds of medals. And
you've taken more steps in Disney races than I've taken in my entire life.
Yeah, true.
I don't know about that. You've done a fair number of Run Disney events yourself.
I mean, nowhere near.
That's true. How many have you done, Patrick?
Good question. Off the top of my head, I think I've done like 4 weekends, but then that equals like 8 races, I think.
Okay, so, awesome.
And then some virtuals as well. And Noah, you've done Run Disney as well. And yeah. Amanda, you just completed your first half marathon this year. There's the medal.
This is my lone medal, you guys. And I'll tell you what, you know who was right there at the starting line inexplicably to give me hope? Nick.
Yep.
Right? Patrick introduced us.
It's true. That's right.
Yeah, we got to walk to the start corrals together.
Yes. I was so nervous. That was my first and so far only half marathon. So thanks for the cheering on.
I'm sure there will be more.
What about you, Noah? What's been your experience with Run Disney?
I started maybe 3 years ago. My first ever was the Wine and Dine 3 years ago. It was really great. I think the hardest part for me is the waking up. Like, I am not a morning person,
Oh,
and that alarm goes off at 3:30 because they demand like the craziest like arrival time. They're like, if you are not checked in or at the start line by 4 in the morning for a 5:30 go, like you're out. And so you go to the parks being like, oh, I want to watch the fireworks until 10 p.m. And then your alarm goes off and you go, well, that was the stupidest thing I've ever done.
yeah.
So yeah, the mornings are tough, but like Nick said, once you get there, your body kind of kicks in. It's just that initial shock of waking up.
Yeah, it's true. Tobes just asked a question. He asked, "How crowded are the races?" For me, I would say they're quite crowded at first, right, in the corrals, but they do a pretty good job of timing out the releases. And so when you're on the road, it's actually not as claustrophobic as you might think it would be. Is that
character stops like add a lot to that too, because it gives some like entertainment, some sort of breaking people up. I was told if you really want the best character photos, skip the first few character stops and then go like a little further out, and then you like don't feel the pressure to like, because everyone like runs a mile and then sees Mickey and is like stop, and so they go like 2 miles.
That's a really good point you bring up. For anyone who has never done a run before, I really recommend doing a Run Disney run as your first one, because there's no pressure involved. It is purely for the fun and enjoyment of it. If you find doing 1,000 miles in one weekend fun, like Nick does, then great. Plow through a 5K and meet Mickey Mouse at the same time. It is absolutely worth it.
There's also rare characters on those runs that you don't get to meet in the park. So I love it for that, because sometimes I'm like, oh, I want to meet Mushu, and I've never met him, but in China Pavilion, there's Mushu ready for my photo.
It's true. Yeah, every step is sort of themed along the way too. If there's not a character to meet, there's a high school marching band playing you on, or some singers sometimes, or DJs. Or just people who want to cheer you on. It is really inspiring to run. So I fully recommend it. I will run with any of you out there who wants to do their first Run Disney event. Call me. We'll figure it out.
Do this. Kate Crowett had a comment earlier. She said, what if you just want to, what did she say, Ben? Can you pop that comment up, or is it too late? I don't know if I just put Ben on the spot. What did she say?
The one about,
oh, yeah. What if you want to just walk and drink your way through Epcot? You can do that too, Kate. We can go for a run, and by the time we're done, Epcot will be open for the day. Then we will have earned our wander.
You can even stay at one of the resorts near Epcot and like hustle your way over to Epcot and then just eat your way around it. Like, you don't need to pay the registration fee.
I like it. Or Adam will be waiting with a shot at the finish line for you.
I love
Adam?
this.
It'll be gone. It'll be gone.
It started as a full drink. It'll only be a shot at the end of it, though.
No, it won't.
Fair. That's fair. Good for you, Adam. Good for you. Well, let's move on to our last big topic of the evening, and that is Disney as it relates to charity. Disney, as a lot of you may know, is huge in the philanthropy game. They raise millions and millions of dollars for charities. Most notably, I think everyone will recognize Make-A-Wish. So for over the past 40 years, Disney has helped create 140,000 Disney wishes for anyone needing a Make-A-Wish. Incredible. I love that organization. I love that Disney pairs with it. During the pandemic, also, a lot of you may know, Disney helped raise a lot of money, but they also donated a lot of fabrics and foods and supplies to local hospitals throughout the country. So they've always got their finger on the pulse of what's needed in the communities, and they're always one of the first to respond. And amongst us, we have Nick Jankowski, who is not only a running champion, but he is a champion to the hearts of many, many children, specifically in Canada right now. Nick, you are the, the Day of Flight Director for Dreams Take Flight. Talk to us about what that means.
Well, so you mentioned Make-A-Wish. They're a charity that we're often confused with or compared with. And Dreams Take Flight is a Canadian-based charity that it's actually started with a bunch of Air Canada employees. And in 1989, a group of Air Canada flight attendants, pilots, they decided that they wanted to do something spectacular for a bunch of kids. And they fundraised a lot of money, mostly through bake sales, if you can imagine that. And they took 70 special needs kids to Walt Disney World. And from that, the charity kind of exploded. By 1997, we had 8 chapters all across Canada, each of which every year would take a plane full of very amazing, deserving kids to either Disneyland or Walt Disney World. And as of 2019, as a charity, we have taken over 35,000 Canadian children to either the Magic Kingdom or Disneyland.
Wow.
It's our belief that if you can expand a child's mind and give them a sense of joy and hope, and give them that kind of memorable experience, that can help to heal some of the things that might be going on in their lives. The kids that are eligible for our charity, actually just about anybody that has had something bad happen to them in childhood is eligible. Kids that have medical issues, mental issues, physical issues, social or emotional issues are eligible. We have kids that have been the victims of abuse. We have kids that are dealing with a medical condition, autism. We have a wide range of kids. Basically, if you're between the ages of 6 to 12 years old and you could really use a vacation, you're probably eligible for our charity. The biggest stipulation is the kids can't have been to a Disney park before. This has to be a new experience for them. And also, financially, the children's family can't be capable of providing this themselves. They either have to be unable to afford travel at this time or have not been able to travel within the last 12 months. So it's kind of an amazing experience when you have a plane with 125 or 150 kids on it, and for most of them, they've never had a vacation like this ever in their lives. And in one day, most of them get their first flight on an airplane, their first monorail, their first train, their first boat. We take them across on the ferry when we first get to Magic Kingdom so they can see that view of the castle in the background. And
Now thinking about it.
It's a big day.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's
That is
amazing.
amazing.
I can barely keep track of Adam when we are in a Disney park together, and you're keeping track of 150 kids at one time. That must be an impossible feat that you, of course, handle with grace, I'm sure.
It can be a little unnerving. Actually, you hit upon my greatest fear. My greatest fear is losing a kid. And as a parent, you, like all of us that have kids, have lost them at some point. My son is now off at college, but I don't know the number of times that we've lost him. Just going to the grocery store or to Toys R Us. But when it's somebody else's kid, I guess you realize that this is far seriouser. My kid can find his way home. He knows my number. He'll call me. Being responsible for other people's kids is horrifying to be honest. But we last year we took 100, and we were trying to get 175 kids. We wound up with 174. We had one child at the last minute. He was terrified of airplanes. We had him on the plane. The captain took him up to the cockpit, showed him how safe it was. Like we had all these people trying to talk them in, and we had one that backed out. So we wound up with 174 kids, and yeah, it was our biggest flight out of Ottawa, and I think the key to really having a successful flight is having really great volunteers. We have a typical group. You've got 6 kids, so typically about 4 volunteers. So you've got a lot of eyes keeping track of them, and all of our groups have walkie-talkies. We maintain contact with one another. We travel with physicians and nurses, and yeah, it's a pretty big event. It's now that I talk about it, it's almost overwhelming to me, and I lived it. So,
And everything is donated, right? From the flights to the tickets to
yeah,
eating from day to day.
one of the things that's unique about our charity is that 100% of the funds that we receive go to getting the kids to Disney, and we have no paid positions. Everyone is a volunteer. So I mentioned that this started with Air Canada. Our pilots are Air Canada employees who are donating their time. Our flight crew are Air Canada employees who have donated their time to make this flight happen. Air Canada donates the aircraft for us, and then our biggest fundraising for the year is the fuel. On a typical year, it costs just over $1,400 Canadian per kid to get them down there for the flight. A lot of that is fuel. Disney gives us a little bit of a break on park admission. One of the coolest things that they give us, and I've got one here to show you, this is a Genie Pass, and this is magic. If you ever are in the parks and you see a group of kids chaperoned with one of these, they're living their best life. They're having the best day, because with this pass, if you notice, it says number of guests 10. This pass allows you to go right up the fast pass lane, or in Disneyland, I believe the groups that go out there, in some rides, they actually can go up the exit and get right onto the ride.
Wow.
So with one of these, it is conceivable that you can get on Seven Dwarfs Mine Train with a 10-minute wait. And then you can, go and be on Space Mountain with a 5-minute wait, and you can walk on just about every ride.
That's
And
amazing.
So, yeah, it's
Wow.
Amazing.
Yeah,
it
Amazing.
is amazing experience.
One of our guests, Casey, has says, how can we donate?
Yeah. We can go.
So
Learn.
if you go to Dreams Take Flight's webpage, so we're divided up into 8 individual chapters, and each chapter has its own fundraising and its own budget. But yeah, if you go to Dreams Take Flight on our website, I'm sure that there's a donate button. Right now, this is the first year that I know of in our history where there are no flights happening, obviously. When we made the announcement earlier this year to our volunteers that we weren't going to have a flight this year, I mean, people kind of saw the writing on the wall. They knew that this was coming, but I went over to our storage locker, and I stood there and I looked at all the backpacks and the T-shirts and the tennis shoes, and each of our kids gets a plush Mickey at the end of the day, and I thought about how at this time, how when we can't have a flight, how needed this is, and once we're able to start doing trips to the park again, how important this is going to be. So please, absolutely, if you want to donate and you have a little bit of coin to spare, as soon as the U.S.-Canada border is open again and we can safely get kids into the parks, we're going to have a whole bunch of kids up here that need it.
Amazing. Well, thank you for doing that work. You are providing literal magic to so many people, and I applaud your efforts. So thank you for doing that.
Wonderful.
And Ben, it looks like just posted the link in the chat here, so everyone who's watching, you can go to the chat and click on that link and learn more and donate whatever you can and want to do. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are done with the main topics of tonight's festivities. We've learned a little bit about Disney and charity, Disney in the news, why we love Disney, some Disney theatrical, and sports as well. We've got it all here for you. Amazing. Now we have the lightning round for each of our guests here, including you, Amanda. I'm going to ask some questions and just answer off the top of your head. Basically, it's a favorites list. Are you all ready?
Ready.
Okay.
Sure.
All right, we're going to start with your favorite Disney movie. We'll start with Adam.
Inside Out.
Ooh, interesting. How about you, Noah?
Up.
Up. Nick?
I would have to go with Up.
Good one. And Amanda?
Mine's controversial because I think it's really problematic now, honestly. But I'm going to go with Sentiment, Peter Pan.
Fair. We'll just flip that over to Peter and the Starcatcher then, and now it's okay. There it is. All right, your favorite Disney park. Let's start with Amanda this time.
Easy peasy for me. I'm OG, Magic Kingdom all the way. At Walt Disney World.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Nick?
Epcot.
Adam?
It's changed over the years, but since I discovered Drinking Around the World Showcase.
Fair. How about Adam?
Yeah, I agree with Nick. Epcot, she needs some love, but she's going to be back and better than ever in 10 to 15 years.
And Adam loves as well. Adam loves a frosé.
Yes.
How about you, Noah?
Obviously, my name's Noah, so Animal Kingdom. Duh.
Yay!
It's immersive. Like, there's so many trees. You're literally, like, immersed.
I love it.
So beautifully immersive. I love that park.
I love Animal Kingdom. Fun fact, a lot of the trees there are produce heat, and that's why it is the hottest park in all of the Disney parks.
Oh.
Little Disney knowledge for you guys. All right, let's get more specific. What is your favorite Disney attraction? We'll start with Noah this time.
Easy. Indiana Jones. And in the driver's seat.
Oh.
I like to feel like I'm saving the day every ride.
That sounds right. How about Nick?
Haunted Mansion, best Disney attraction ever, hands down.
In Disneyland or in Disney World?
I actually, from a safety standpoint, I prefer the one in Disney World because the stretching room it's not an elevator, it actually stretches up. In Disneyland, it's an elevator, and so that's one more thing that could break down and trap you in the Haunted Mansion.
Yeah, I do even more than I did 10 seconds ago. Amanda, what's your favorite attraction?
I mean, this is going to be a boring round for you because it is straight up the Haunted Mansion.
Fair. I don't feel like I have to ask Adam, but I will ask Adam, what's your favorite attraction?
Haunted Mansion, Walt Disney World.
Yep.
I mean, I like Indiana Jones a little bit more than I like the Haunted Mansion, I'm not going to lie, but it's the teacups for me. The teacups was the best ride.
You do love the teacups.
Favorite Disney snack? Let's start with Adam.
Recently, up until very recently, it was chocolate peanut butter fudge, which you can find in the confectionery in Main Street in the Magic Kingdom or Disneyland. But
what aisle can you find it in?
The aisle called my mouth. But now it's been replaced with churro toffee from Disneyland.
Oh.
Good. Nick, favorite Disney snack?
So this is a twofer. Chicken waffle, fruit waffle from Sleepy Hollow. So you order one of each, you split them in half, you give one to your friend. So you eat the chicken waffle half first and then the fruit waffle half second.
I like it.
Love
Just
it.
the hot tips here tonight. Amanda, favorite Disney snack?
Okay, twofold. Initially, I would say my favorite Disney snack is a Rice Krispie treat. Give me one of those good old from on the Main Street confectionery, a fresh Rice Krispie treat with chocolate and peanut butter. But also, I love a good cheeseburger egg roll.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, Casey Hamlin.
Cheeseburger egg rolls.
Cheeseburger egg rolls.
She knows what's up. Those
They're
are the
delish.
best. Noah, what about you?
I'm a classic and I'm super boring. Dole Whip. Like,
Yeah.
why not? There's a line for a reason.
I'm personally offended that none of you said Mickey Pretzel, but we will move on.
Is that
Mickey
yours?
Pretzels are terrible. That's why.
You guys, Patrick makes
the best.
a mean Mickey pretzel at home. And I was like, how hard can it be? So I tried one day. It's real hard.
It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. I can't recommend doing it.
Yes, and you're great at it.
Thank you. Thank you. I am great at doing
Yeah.
that. All right. All right. 2 more questions. Who is your favorite Disney character? We'll start with Nick.
Oh,
Stitch. Ohana means family, and family means nobody gets left behind or forgotten.
Aw, I love it. Noah, favorite Disney character?
I go back and forth. Obviously, I really, really love Donald, but I think deep down I identify with Cruella de Vil just a little bit because she's just rich, super crazy, and like mean.
That's the best answer. We don't need to move on anymore, but we will. Amanda, favorite Disney character?
oh, I can't do this.
Yes, you can. I believe in you.
Ugh. Okay, I'm just gonna go with. I'm just gonna stay with my theme. I'm gonna go with Tinkerbell.
Perfect. Not Edna Mode, like on your shirt.
I do love me some Edna Mode. There's so many characters I love. Yeah,
My mom is with you on Tinkerbell. Tinkerbell is great.
she is.
And then Adam, speaking of Tinkerbell, Adam, who is your favorite character?
I'll go classic, and I'll say Goofy. So lovable, and the size of his shoes.
This,
Oh,
this
no.
movie? Sorry, Adam, this is a family show. We are moving on.
He just has big shoes. That's all. There's nothing.
Wait, can we also give a shout out to Eve from Wall-E? I really love
Oh,
Eve.
yeah.
I just like had a moment where I kind of forgot about her and I felt guilty. So Eve, she's great.
This is dangerous.
Can we just list all the characters?
Yeah,
Just
we
It's
can.
real
really
quick.
hard. Like
Yeah.
it was really hard. I felt pressured to
I
say.
understand. I cheated on so many people just now.
I
check
know.
with you.
Like they broke up with me and I felt
Yeah.
it.
Patrick, who's your favorite?
Oh, it's the Cheshire Cat.
Yay!
Or Stitch. Stitch is also a classic for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
People are popping in. Somebody said,
The Mandalorian.
yeah.
was said.
Oh,
Okay, so we have one more question. Ooh, Bugs Bunny is not a Disney character, Tom Karki. Get out of here.
Well, okay, Tom.
Can we kick him out? Is it a button?
Chuck said somebody who I missed. Who'd Chuck say?
He said Jafar.
Jafar. Yeah.
Jafar, good villain.
Yeah,
All right.
Jafar. Very good.
Last question, since we are a theater company here, what is your favorite Disney theatrical production? We will start with Noah.
Certainly not Frozen. And surprise, it is not Lion King. I actually love Aladdin on stage.
That's a great answer. Great answer. Adam, I see you thinking hard, so we're going to go to you next.
I think I'm going to say Aida.
Nice.
Okay,
Yeah.
I love
And
it.
Heather Headley,
it's great. It's great.
I cannot beat Heather Headley.
Sherry Renee Scott.
Wow.
Hmm.
Nick, favorite Disney theatrical production?
It's actually Lion King. I remember the first time that I saw the stage production, and I was just, it was more than what I had imagined. It blew me away.
And I remember when I saw you in the crowd, Nick, and I said, "This is for you." Glad you connected that.
We're making
Those first-
connections here at Daleko Arts.
That's right. Those first 10 minutes are maybe some of the best moments in theater history, I think, of The Lion King. It's absolutely beautiful.
You guys, I'm going to lose my theater card right now.
Oh.
I've never seen The Lion King on stage.
Get out!
Get
I
out
know.
of my...
I
Get
have
out.
wanted to always, and I've never seen it. One of these days, and I know it's going to blow my mind because I think Julie Taymor is one of the great artists of our age. So there, I
Well,
said it.
We'll get Noah to do a one-man production of The Lion King for Daleko Artistic Director.
I love it. I love it. See? Perfect.
Ready.
Now everybody at home can say, you saw the beginning of The Lion King.
Is that the Stampede just now? This is great.
So many animals.
Perfect.
All right, Amanda, what is your favorite Disney theatrical production?
Mine's Beauty and the Beast.
Great.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
love it. I do
classic.
not love the live Beauty and the Beast that played for a while. That's not my scene at Disney World, but I do love the full production of Beauty and the Beast. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is beautiful. It is beautiful.
Yeah.
Wonderful answers, everybody. I hope people are chiming in with their own answers below in the chat. I haven't been keeping up with it, but Ben has.
Yeah, Sophs, Mary Poppins.
Poppins. Excellent.
Has anyone in the chat seen Hunchback? Because that was really good in its time.
Yes, beautiful music too. Wait, what's yours, Patrick?
I'm a Newsies fan. I'm not gonna lie. There's just something
Yeah.
beautiful. No, I saw that. I can see you.
I totally.
just
I
got
never
the
think of
music.
Newsies as being a Disney property, but you're right. Totally.
Yeah. I love the music, and I'm a sucker for a tap number.
Yep.
I mean,
I hear ya.
yeah, it's the best. Well, you guys, thank you so much for spending your evening with us. I mean, our guests and everyone at home, our Daleko audience. This has been super fun, and it just proves that I actually do have friends. So thank you for that as well.
Yeah, thank you all so much for being a part of the DA fam today. We appreciate you.
Yeah, you're stuck with us now, everybody.
That's
So-
right.
Here.
Patrick, thank you so much for bringing your passion, for bringing what you love and what drives you and what gives you energy and hope to our friends at Daleko Arts. I know so many of you out there have loved seeing Patrick on stage over and over again here at the Prague Theater, and we know there are so many more to come. So thanks for just bringing that and sharing it with us tonight, another little part of you, and for introducing us to your wonderful friends.
Oh, it's been my absolute pleasure. It is my favorite topic, so thank you for letting me nerd out about all things Disney.
You bet. And thanks to our awesome audience, per usual, for chiming in, for participating, for taking part, for asking questions, for sharing with us what you love about Disney. We love you all so much, and we hope to see you again soon. And in fact, real soon. This is a Daleko Arts, a DA Home Invasion Week. Next up, tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Oh my gosh, I'm losing my mind. Tomorrow night at 8 p.m. you can tune in for Date Night Trivia. It happens every Thursday at 8 p.m. You can follow the link below. Oh, go this way. Link below, dalekoarts.com/date if you want to take part. And on Friday night, also at 8 p.m., you can tune in for Daleko's new late-ish night cabaret series, Daleko After Dark, where you will hear some crooning done by yours truly, our music director, Tony Sophie, and our resident drummer and DA fam member, Jack Perner, singing a cabaret, Songs in the Wrong Time. So hope to see you every night this week, you guys. Thanks again to our friends and our fam.
Amazing.
Patrick, you want the last word?
No, I mean, yeah, I do, but you said everything that was pertinent. Don't forget to head on over to Dreams Take Flight to learn more about that amazing organization. Donate if you can. And then if you want to, there is a CF Foundation below as well in that link. Click that and donate there. Other than that, thank you so much, everybody. It's been a magical evening. I could spend hours and hours talking about Disney. But I do on a weekly basis on Gaze to the Deep podcast. So check that out as well. Right, Adam? With that, I guess we close out the evening with a see you real soon, everybody.